What is chaos, really? Is it simply the senseless disarray of nothingness and total disorder? Or is it, in fact, the very wellspring of creation? The Greeks realized this long before they attempted to conquer the world. To them, chaos was a dark, stormy maw in space. Inside of this raw, formless expanse was the potential known as chaos, the primordial force from which everything sprang into being, both the absence of order and the source of it. And the brightest minds of our age agrees with the Greeks' fantastical mythology. Chaos is everything, or at least, it has the potential to be everything. Welcome to the Vortex, where mythology, lore, and reality collide. Before we descend into chaos, please do consider subscribing to the channel and giving this video a like. It will really help the channel grow, and we have lots more to come. The word chaos comes from the Greeks, and predictably, from their intricate mythological religious structure. But to them, chaos doesn't quite mean what it does to us today, nor was it a god or some obscure deity to them. It was the beginning of everything. It was the primordial abyss from which everything emerged, a chasm that exists in a formless, never-ending, broiling dark state, yet from it spews out the exact opposite, order and life. The first to emerge from this tumultuous abyss was Gaia, the giant, who was both a deity and the very earth itself. After her came Nyx, the goddess of night. Next to be regurgitated were Tartarus, the dungeon prison that became the torturous underworld where the wicked were sent to, and Eros, the personification of lust, love, and desire. And finally came Erebus, the embodiment of darkness and shadow. Gaia gave birth to the Titans and the gods, that luckily brought some much needed light and variation to this volatile and primal first wave of beings. Chaos was one of the few things Zeus truly feared, since anything that came close to chaos was sucked into its volatile depths, never to be seen again. It was assumed that chaos took structured beings and disassembled and unraveled them back to the chaos from which they originally came. The Greeks were not alone in their assumption that some enormous gaping maw of unorganized potential vomited out the earth and all physical bodies in the universe. But the others almost all exclusively rely on the unpredictable, constantly moving forces of water to form their base. Ancient Egypt had none, the formless, frenzied waters from which Atum, the creator god, came. The Mesopotamians had the wild freshwater, Apsu, that met with the saltwater, Tiamat, where the union of the two waters gave birth to their gods and the world. And Hinduism believed that the state of Brahman, the cosmic ocean, is where Vishnu dreamed up the ingredients for creation. It is also from the Greeks that great thinkers later came, and they leaned heavily on their mythological upbringings to make sense of the world. From these philosophers' musings, the idea of chaos being the well of sensical structure started to take shape. Even though they used chaos as a metaphor for discussions, they were in fact influencing enormous leaps in physics and science in our modern day, without even realizing it. Anaximander was the first to propose infinity, using chaos as the closest thing to an example he could to describe the complexities of what he saw in his mind. Infinity wasn't just endless, it was a soup made up of presumably random components that, when they came together under the right circumstances, created the universe as we know it. Anaximander lived in 600 BCE, yet 2,600 years ago, he already laid the foundation of the Big Bang Theory. One has to wonder if he'd realized just how profound his notions were at the time. It wasn't just the basis for the creation of the universe that he proposed. It was the butterfly effect theory too. The butterfly effect, if you were wondering, illustrates how small changes can lead to vastly different outcomes within complex systems. Like, if a butterfly flaps its wings on one side of the world, it could cause a tornado on another continent. Heraclitus, Plato, and Aristotle all humoured this line of thinking, broadening the subject that nothingness indeed held something, some intangible ingredients that seemed unpredictable and disordered, yet with the right circumstances, order and structure just blossoms from it. But the idea of chaos bringing forth life was soon to be abruptly abandoned. The entire mythos from where the idea stemmed, completely discarded. During the Renaissance, the period after the unpredictable era of the Dark Ages, thinkers began to associate chaos with disorder and unpredictability, a sharp contrast to its original role as a creative force. The shift reflected humanity's growing desire to impose order on the natural world. What was once revered as the origin of all things became seen as the enemy of reason and structure, even something to be feared. This was the time of Da Vinci, Galileo, and explorers like Columbus. The Renaissance was the breeding ground for discovering the secrets of the universe, be that feats of engineering, astronomy, or physics, and extending our understanding of the planet as a whole. This age of discovery gave birth to evidence-based, analytical thinking, in exchange for the rich lore and beliefs that humanity once relied on. Gone were the days of gods and giants, and in came the ways of science and reason. Anything that did not fit into the tight confines of rational, intellectual reasoning was untrue and downright taboo, because that which could not be proven could only stem from witchcraft and devil worship. Anything out of the norm was, well, chaos. So chaos morphed into our understanding of all things that were designed to bring a good, orderly society down into madness and disorder. Then came the 20th century, and the world was thrown into the Industrial Revolution. That's when George Cantor, a mathematician, picked up Aristotle's works. From Aristotle's ideas about the infinite abyss of chaos, Cantor revolutionized the theory of infinity, which paved the way for Einstein's theory of relativity, ultimately laying the foundation for Hawking's work on black holes and singularities. Soon after, the First World War broke out, bringing with it an interesting shift in the scientific community. Suddenly, there was a global race to create the most deadly, destructive weapons, intended to destroy entire nations. This bloodthirsty need to be as weaponized as we possibly could spilled over into the Second World War, and the scientific and engineering frontrunners of the day were under immense pressure to discover new theorems and machines at an inhuman rate. It wasn't long before the bright minds started digging back into the critical and philosophical thinkers' records for some inspiration yet again. In the 60s, Edward Lorenz, a meteorologist and mathematician, accidentally stumbled onto a groundbreaking discovery that finally proved Anaximander and Cantor's lines of thinking to be true. While studying weather patterns, he discovered that small changes in initial conditions could lead to vastly different outcomes. Look at a meandering river or the swirling spirals of galaxies. These patterns echo nature's blueprint. Infinitely complex fractals, repeating at every scale, demonstrates that chaos underpins the very fabric of reality. This is where we officially got chaos theory and the butterfly effect theory from. Lorenz was able to connect the disorder of chaos to the infinitely balanced and predictable outcomes of mathematics, finally bringing the two opposite ends of order and disorder together indefinitely. Just like it was back when the Greeks first wove tales of the infinite and wild void that was chaos, the creator of the first beings. Because if you really think about it, chaos is the true butterfly effect. Well-timed randomness created Gaia. Gaia birthed titans and gods. The gods birthed humanity. And eventually, all of the beings that came from chaos would come to a head in a final epic battle. A battle that would never have happened if the primordial gods were never born. Chaos was also the butterfly effect that made people tell stories of great heroes and gods. Those stories made the philosophers ponder. Then, those musings were picked up by more future brilliant minds, and were used to prove and dissect everything we know about the known universe. If chaos never vomited out all of those mythological beings, then Plato, Anaximander, Hawking, and Einstein would never have changed the course of mankind in the profound way that they did. Chaos is the perpetual snowball that keeps humanity rolling forward. Lorenz brought back the glimmer of creation tied to chaos with his hypothesis, catapulting the world back into very ancient ways of thinking, while simultaneously propelling us into the future. By opening this old, yet brand new world of thought, it caused a series of events yet again, or dare I say, a butterfly effect of numerous fields of expertise to follow suit. In the medical field, disordered test results were used to pinpoint diseases. Instead of working around them, the irregularities were considered part of the list of symptoms. The structured world of art, where exact replicas were previously the only accepted form of portraiture, suddenly began to embrace abstract and surrealist movements. Art became a place where emotion and opinions could be portrayed through chaotic brushstrokes. New worlds birthed out of the seeming creative disorder and chaos. Engineering saw a colossal boom in how far they could push seemingly impossible feats, pushing boundaries further than we could ever have previously imagined. and filming the journey on moving pictures as we went. Writers like James Joyce and Virginia Woolf captured the fluid, chaotic flow of human thought. These creative explorations remind us that chaos is not something to be feared, but a source of endless possibility. Even in the digital age, chaos finds its place. Algorithms that power artificial intelligence and machine learning often mimic chaotic processes, learning from unpredictable data to improve over time. Social media, for all its imperfections, reflects the chaotic ebb and flow of human interaction, a digital microcosm of the universe's intricate unpredictability. Nature mirrors this cyclical process as well. Is the eye of the cyclone not perfectly calm, while the world around it spins in a ferocious melee of debris? So too is human progress itself, born from disruption. Our lives, much like the cosmos, blend order with disorder. We crave structure, yet we thrive on spontaneity. Chaos reminds us that beauty lies not in perfection, but in complexity and unpredictability. What if we embraced it as a force of transformation again? Chaos fuels creativity by breaking down the old to make way for the new, pushing us to discover resilience, adaptability, and hidden potential. Throughout the known world, chaos has served as the backdrop for humanity's greatest achievements. Wars, revolutions, and social upheavals, though destructive, have often paved the way for profound societal change. On a cosmic scale, the birth and death of stars, seemingly chaotic events, forge the very elements that make up our world. We are, quite literally, made of dust born from the chaos of exploding stars. For humanity, chaos teaches resilience. When societies are rocked by economic collapse, natural disasters, or political upheaval, they often emerge stronger, more innovative, and better prepared for the future. From the swirling galaxies above to the fractal patterns beneath our feet, chaos shapes our world in both subtle and profound ways. The same concepts echo through all time and space, at every scale. Chaos is the birthplace of creation, a force that has shaped the universe, and the force that shapes you. Even in the midst of this madness, there lies infinite potential. Ultimately, chaos is not something to be feared or avoided. It is an integral part of existence, a force that shapes everything, from the tiniest atom to the vast expanse of the cosmos. It is the snowball, the butterfly effect. It is chaos in all of its magnificent cosmic shaping glory. It is the crucible that forges resilience, and the thread that connects all living things in an ever-evolving tapestry. Embrace the chaos and use it to propel you into the future. So, quite the word, quite the concept. Do let us know your thoughts on chaos, from the micro to the infinite. Although, if we've learned anything, these are simply two sides of the same very chaotic coin. And do consider showing your support by subscribing to the channel and liking this video. Who knows what the knock-on effect of this seemingly small action might be. Until next time, embrace the chaos.